Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're watching this because you think you might be one, my advice is, stop watching this video right now. Believe whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth, and try to lead a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time, it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're a normal kid watching this because you think it's fiction, great! Watch on! I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in this video, if you feel something stirring inside, stop watching immediately. You might be one of us, and once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they sense it too. And they'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you. My name is Percy Jackson. I'm 12 years old. Until a few months ago, I was a boarding student at Yancey Academy, a private school for troubled kids in upstate New York. Am I a troubled kid? Yeah, you could say that. I could start at any point in my short, miserable life to prove it. But things really started going bad last May, when our 6th grade class took a field trip to Manhattan. 28 mental case kids and 2 teachers on a yellow school bus heading to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at the ancient Greek and Roman stuff. I know, it sounds like torture. Most Yancey field trips were. But Mr. Bruner, our Latin teacher, was leading this trip, so I had hopes. Mr. Bruner was this middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning hair and a scruffy beard, and a frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons, so he was the only teacher whose class didn't put me to sleep. I hoped the trip would be okay. At least, I hoped that for once I wouldn't get in trouble. Boy, was I wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school, when we went to the Saratoga battlefield. I had this accident with a Revolutionary War cannon. I wasn't aiming for the school bus, but of course I got expelled anyway. And before that, at my 4th grade school, when we took a behind-the-scenes tour of the Marine World Shark Pool, I sort of hit the wrong lever on the catwalk, and our class took an unplanned swim. And the time before that, well, you get the idea. This trip I was determined to be good. All the way into the city, I put up with Nancy Bobofit, the freckly, red-headed kleptomaniac girl, hitting my best friend Grover in the back of the head with chunks of peanut butter and ketchup sandwich. Grover was an easy target. He was scrawny. He cried when he got frustrated. He must have been held back several grades, because he was the only 6th grader with acne and the start of a wispy beard on his chin. On top of all that, he was crippled. He had a note excusing him from PE for the rest of his life because he had some kind of muscular disease in his legs. He walked funny, like every step hurt him. But don't let that fool you. You should have seen him run when it was enchilada day in the cafeteria. Anyway, Nancy Bobofit was throwing wads of sandwich that stuck in his curly brown hair, and she knew I couldn't do anything back to her because I was already on probation. I'm going to kill her.
It's okay. I like peanut butter.
Looking back on it, I wish I'd decked Nancy Bobofit right then and there. In-school suspension would have been nothing compared to the mess I was about to get myself into. Mr. Bruner led the museum tour. He rode up front in his wheelchair, guiding us through the big echoey galleries, past marble statues and glass cases full of really old black and orange pottery. It blew my mind that this stuff had survived for 2,000 or even 3,000 years. He gathered us around a 4-meter-tall stone column with a big sphinx on top and started telling us about how it was a grave marker, a stele for a girl about our age. He told us about the carvings on the sides. I was trying to listen to what he had to say because it was kind of interesting, but everybody around me was talking, and every time I told them to shut up, the other teacher chaperone, Miss Dodds, would give me the evil eye. Miss Dodds was this little math teacher from Georgia who always wore a black leather jacket, even though she was 50 years old. She looked mean enough to ride a Harley right into your locker. From her first day, Miss Dodds loved Nancy Bobofit and figured that I was devil spawn. She would point her crooked finger at me and say,
"Now, honey."
Real sweet. And I knew I was going to get after-school detention for a month. Mr. Bruner kept talking about Greek funeral art.
Look at that naked guy.
Will you shut up? Shut up.
Mr. Jackson, did you have a comment?
No, sir.
Perhaps you'll tell us what this picture represents.
That's Kronos eating his kids, right?
Yes, and he did this because...
Well, Kronos was the king god and...
God?
Titan, and he didn't trust his kids, who were the gods. So, Kronos ate them, right? But his wife hid baby Zeus and gave Kronos a rock to eat instead. And later, when Zeus grew up, he tricked his dad, Kronos, into barfing up his brothers and sisters.
Ew!
And so there was this big fight between the gods and the Titans. And the gods won.
Like we're gonna use this in real life. Like it's gonna say in our job applications, please explain why Kronos ate his kids.
And why, Mr. Jackson, to paraphrase Miss Bobofit's excellent question, does this matter in real life?
I, don't know, sir.
I see, well, have credit, Mr. Jackson. Zeus did indeed feed Kronos a mixture of mustard and wine, which made him disgorge his other 5 children, who, of course, being immortal gods, had been living and growing up completely undigested in the Titan's stomach. The gods defeated their father, sliced him to pieces with his own scythe, and scattered his remains in Tartarus, the darkest part of the underworld. On that happy note, it's time for lunch. Mrs. Dodds, would you lead us back outside? Mr. Jackson.
Keep going, Grover. I'll meet you outside by the fountain for lunch. Sir?
You must learn the answer to my question.
About the Titans?
About real life, and how your studies apply to it.
Oh.
What you learn from me is vitally important. I expect you to treat it as such. I will accept only the best of you, Percy Jackson.
I'll try harder, sir.
You may go and eat now, Mr. Jackson.
Detention?
Nah, not from Bruner. I just wish he'd lay off me sometimes. I mean, I'm not a genius.
Can I have your apple?
Sure, I'm not that hungry anyway. I watched the stream of cabs going down 5th Avenue and thought about my mom's apartment, only a little ways uptown from where we sat. I hadn't seen her since Christmas. I wanted so bad to jump in a taxi and head home. She'd hug me and be glad to see me, but she'd be disappointed too. She'd send me right back to Yancey, remind me that I had to try harder, even if this was my 6th school in 6 years, and I was probably going to be kicked out again. I wouldn't be able to stand that sad look she'd give me. I was about to unwrap my sandwich when Nancy Bobofit appeared in front of me with her ugly friends.
Oops. Percy pushed me!
Did you see that? The water, it like grabbed her.
I'm all wet now.
Now, honey.
I know. A month of erasing textbooks.
Come with me.
Wait, it was me. I pushed her.
I don't think so, Mr. Underwood.
But
You will stay here.
It's okay, man. Thanks for trying.
Come along, honey. You've been giving us problems, honey.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you really think you would get away with it?
I'll try harder, ma'am.
You're not fooled, Percy Jackson. If only none of us found you out. Confess. Well.
Ma'am, I don't...
You're tired of that. Die, honey.
Whatto, Percy?
I hope Mrs. Kerr whipped your butt.
Who?
Our teacher. Duh.
Grover, where is Miss Dodds?
you?
Not funny, man. This is serious.
Ah, that would be my pen. Please bring your own writing utensil in the future, Mr. Jackson.
Sir, where's Miss Dodds?
Who?
The other chaperone, Miss Dodds, the pre-algebra teacher.
Percy, there is no Mrs. Dodds on this trip. As far as I know, there has never been a Mrs. Dodds at Yanzi Academy. Are you feeling alright?